there. I snapped a chalk line up there. It looks pretty straight, doesn't it? I snapped a chalk line and my chalk wasn't too thick or anything. You can snap some of that off, and I had Momi up there helping me, and we snapped that line, and I put regular masking tape on there, and then I painted that white line, you know, from the other side, and then I removed the masking tape after the paint was dry. I didn't want to leave it overnight or anything. I pulled it up. It looks fine. And so now I'm going to have to re-snap another line when I get ready to paint this ceiling. Yeah, I'm not done painting ceilings. She wants all of these other ceilings painted because we got new paint, and the paint's not going to be the exact same color. Had we have gotten something with the exact same color or something, maybe I could have just painted the walls, but she wants everything done anyways. It's a slightly different color, and I'm going to end up painting these other ceilings. This one's going to be a pain, but at least it's just here. Well, here we got that there, and in the closets and the bathrooms and stuff. This bathroom happens to have a big, you know, skylight, but I'll be able to get up there with my extension pole and stuff. And then I still gotta pay all of. I still gotta paint the bathrooms, ceilings, and up in here and stuff. But at least it's only one color paint, okay? And so the masking tape, getting back to the masking tape, I ended up just deciding I'll just use this. I forget what size that is. 1.4 inches, almost an inch and a half. Okay, I don't like using anything smaller than that. You don't need anything wider than that. But let's get back to talking about this base. So I'm gonna use that masking tape, and I'm gonna put masking tape down on these before I paint that that baseboard. Then that way, you know, I'm not a professional painter, and I don't want to be down on my hands and knees and getting my head way down there and trying to cut this all in next to the tile. Okay, I mean, I could put the craft paper up against there and do it, but ultimately the paint is going to get on there. So I'm going to use that masking tape. I got the masking tape, and I'm going to use it. I'll put it down there. Then I can do it quickly down at the base, and I'll have to cut in the top, obviously. But then after I pull it all up, after all the baseboard's done, one of the last things I'll do after I clean the floor is I'll then run a nice bead of white caulking on the baseboard all the way around, and that'll finish it off. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do with that. All right, Momi's probably wanting me to finish this up. That's all I got for this time. Okay, but I'll be back with more videos, and I'll keep showing you, you know, different things along the way for getting this project done. And maybe you'll learn a few things. Maybe you'll save some money. Maybe you'll decide, hey, that's not for me. I don't want to do that. Maybe you'll learn a few different things on different ways that I do something as opposed to a regular painter, let's say. Okay? Because like I say, I am not a professional painter. So, but I know what to do. And even on these doors, I took all the doors, I've got them all stacked in the garage, and I went ahead and I took all the hinge pieces off, and I'll have to mark all those. They're still on the door, flopped over on the door with the hinge pins on there. And it's way easier to paint all this, trust me. Way easier to paint all this stuff with the doors out of here, with the hinges out of here. Don't paint around the hinges. You can clean everything. You can, if you need to caulk that or paint this, you don't have those knobs of the hinge in your way. You can clean your hinges if they're dirty or something. Now that you have them off, it'll be nice and easy to paint all these frames with all that stuff off. Then when I put everything on, it's going to look all nice and clean, isn't it? Okay. But that will be for another time. All this stuff has got to be sanded. But Momi did a really good job today. She cleaned all of the frames and stuff. You got to do that because dust gets built up here. All of these hinges usually blow out black soot and grease, dust from the hinges and stuff. You need to get all that stuff out of there so that when you paint, your paint's gonna stick. Before we paint these, we're gonna have to lightly sand them too. Okay, we're gonna have to lightly sand that. I'll probably have to dust up and lightly sand the baseboard still too. We've cleaned it. Mommy was like, well, geez, this doesn't make sense. We're cleaning all the baseboard all so that we can wipe it down, so that we can sand it, you know, lightly sand it. Then we have to wipe it off again. I said, well, she was like, why can't we just sand it first before cleaning it? Well, that doesn't really work. You've got dust on the edges. You might have grease spots in certain areas and all that. You need to get all this stuff clean first. Okay, then you can etch things before you paint. Okay, so one step at a time. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you do a project like this? One step at a time. Don't get so inundated in your project and think, holy cow, how am I going to get this whole thing done? You just do one step at a time. However long it takes, it takes. You know what I mean? We could have hired someone to do all the painting, do all the cleaning, do all that kind of stuff. Probably cost us an extra $15,000 by the time they pull everything off, put everything back together, paint everything, and all the doors, frames, and the sliding closet doors, and cleaning them and priming certain areas and painting those and putting everything back up, and you know, all this stuff. We're going to save quite a bit of money because we're doing it ourselves. And you can too. Hey, I'm just an average Joe. If I can do it, I'm sure you can do it too. Okay, so yeah, I'll be there. I'm just finishing up. Okay, so I'll bring out my video camera again tomorrow and just show you my progress of what I'm doing, and stick with me and you'll see how I finish this project. Well, it's I don't know what it is, day 5 of the project or something, and I'm getting ready to paint in here, but I had to use my kills again. I only had the little can, so I used my throwaway paintbrush, used it right out of the can, and I went around and got every little stain mark that wasn't coming off before, all the screw holes that I passed with caulking. I went ahead and did, and remember, I put caulking around each one of these. Well, I put kills over that. And I needed to do that because the caulking will flash if I don't. Okay, and I did these corners. These were metal corners, and so I scraped all that stuff off, the spray texture off that. So then I needed to put kills over there, and I did that around the closets. On this side they had metal corner bead. On the other side, they just jerry-rigged it. They did it the cheap way of just taping the corners. So when I scraped off this edge to make it look nicer, I got down it right to about the paper, and so I ended up putting kills primer on that too. This is how your project's going to look before you even get the paint roller out. Okay, and I'm just concentrating on doing the bedrooms first, and so you see, I did all that. I also got up here where the curtain rods were and stuff. I even did lightly around here. Even though the last person didn't do that, I wanted to do it to make it look nice, especially when there's corner bead. I went the extra mile, scraped all that. That took me a long time, and you know, just to get the corner bead, because now if anybody hits this corner, you don't nick off the sheetrock texture, and you think, oh, there's a mark, there's a mark, there's a mark, there's a mark. So I went ahead and did all that in the bedrooms, and I made sure any outside corner, because I almost forgot that one there, and each one's pretty much the same. You know, look at this room. My word, it had a lot of marks on the wall. So I just went ahead and put the kills on there, and I didn't use, like I said, I didn't use any spackle. I used my caulking. And I used my putty knife. That's all I used. I didn't get any flat spots. After I got everything smooth, and I tried to just do the areas. I didn't make a big old mark along there. And then after that first coat dried, then I put a couple more spooges on there. Boom, boom, boom. Took the putty knife and flattened it down. Okay, that way I got the like a spray texture knockdown. See this here? That's called spray texture knockdown. They sprayed it on there. They sprayed it on a little thick, and then let it dry, and then they wiped it off. I mean, there's different ways. Some people just do orange peel, some people do smooth wall, and you know, each house is just different, okay? And so now I'm getting ready to get into my paint. All right. And what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna take my mini roller. Before I get my big fat roller out, I'm gonna use the mini roller. That way I can get in here where the closets are. Because this is gonna be tight to get my other roller in here, especially up in here, all the way down in here, along these small walls and stuff. And then I'll come out here and I'll do the mini roller, probably around all of the outlets, and I'll do it around the trim here, and I'll use the mini roller up there, and I'll probably do it. I'll probably get up on a ladder and just run it sideways along here, you know, and then I'll run it sideways down along the baseboard. And because with the mini roller I can get a nice edge on there. That way when I get the bigger roller out, I don't have to go all the way down and hit the baseboard or hit the ceiling or anything like that. You know, trust me, it's easy to do with the big paint roller because it's bigger, it's fatter, you leave a paint edge down there, and so because everything's kind of cut up a little bit, I think I'm going to use the small mini roller first. You know, the same one that I used before. Okay, this one here. I'm gonna start out with that right there. And away I go. Well, that's all I got for this time. But I'll be back with more videos. I'm sure you're gonna wanna see the progress on how this is coming along and what it looks like step by step before we put this for sale.